everybody. Keith, aka Gator Guy 231. It's Friday, July 17th. One EPL game to cover today. Watford versus West Ham. Should be a fairly even game, although I think a majority of the ownership and the better plays will be on the West Ham side. That said, it should be a great time, a big GPP on DraftKings, and a lot of chalkier plays. So if you are a GPP player, a lot of opportunities to differentiate your lineup, and I'll be going through that here shortly. Just a reminder, if this is your first time watching the show, please hit the subscribe button, bottom right, comment, try to answer all of them when I can. And if you are interested in more premium coverage of every soccer slate on both DraftKings and FanDuel, make sure you hit the link and the details to the cheat sheet where you can sign up for as little as $10 a week. Get full access to me in the chat, plus a ton of other great DFS players. Let's jump into the action. West Ham at home is a plus 135 favorite, whereas Watford away plus 241 means that the bookies pretty much think that this is a fairly square game on a neutral site, whopping 2.25 total. I'll just let you know at the beginning, I do think that the bookies are a little bit light on West Ham. I think that they are in pretty fine form after Mikel Antonio alone absolutely dismantled Norwich, scoring 4 goals. That was a fun slate. It was like a 2-game 7:30 slate. Norwich pretty much was already going to be relegated. So personally had Antonio at every lineup. So that's always fun to have a guy that's only 50% owned, and he scores 4 goals. And then they struggled and lost the game 1-0 at Burnley the game beforehand, but they pretty much dominated that game possessionally. And I think that Burnley and Watford have a lot of similarities to how they may set up. So that's kind of, my comp game, so to speak, I'm using, and really where I do think that West Ham can do well. Watford, on the other hand, actually, let me just do this. So these are number 16 and 17 in the table. They're actually tied on points, 34. Bournemouth and Villa both are on 31. Villa with, a really solid point versus Everton. They probably think they kind of got hard luck by not getting 3 points. But that said, this is insanely important game. You are going to see both of these teams at their best, at their most intense. And, I just think skill-wise and just overall players on the pitch, I think West Ham has the edge. We will see, obviously, the results. But one of the biggest things that this does mean is that we really aren't going to see lineup shakeups. So what we're seeing here are pretty much the lineups that we've seen the last 2-3 games from each team, and exactly what I expect to see here. So I don't think we're going to have to, worry about, Jose Holebas, who hasn't been in the lineup at all, for Watford, this season coming in, or Tom Cleverley, or any of these guys that, might just rotate. Both managers are going to go, guys, this is for everything. This is millions of dollars. This is your wage bills. This is everything to the club and to you as a player to not go down the championship. So we got to go at it. All right. So with that said, let's talk about West Ham. I already kind of alluded to West Ham being my preferred side, not only because of the books, just it's more DFS friendly. So Jared Bowen will be the single highest owned player on the slate. He has been absolutely sensational for West Ham since coming over from Hull in January. He is now taking a majority of set pieces. He at least takes all of the corners on the left, or, they do end swinging balls. So whatever you want to say, I guess it's technically the right if you're on offense, whatever. But he has been taking a lot of free kicks. He shoots, gets tackles won. He just pretty much does everything you could ask from a player. Let's just quickly look over his logs. He now has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 straight games in double digits. So, he will be, the cash-friendly captain. And the most popular guy that you put in the captain spot. Mikel Antonio will be the second most owned player on the slate. He is, like I said, coming off of a massive 4-goal game versus Norwich, and now has 5 straight double-digit games. And, the thing for me, I've always loved Mikel Antonio. We used to play him a lot for kind of older DFS players. Those that have been playing DFS before just this break. But he used to play a lot of wing for West Ham. He would always draw fouls, get crosses in, and then, kind of shoot from long range, like take shots he shouldn't be taking. So he was a very DFS friendly option. He's now playing like central striker, but his floor remains great. Like versus Burnley, 14 floor points. Versus Chelsea had 27 DK with a goal and assist. So I still think, even if you kind of don't think he's obviously going to show up with 4 goals, which, look, I would put a good deal of money that he's not going to show up with 4 goals. But even if you think that he might struggle to score, I don't know, based on the slate, if you have a lot of options to fade him. The option may be better suited, like, can you switch up your captain? Obviously, an injury or just like a true bad game, right? Like 2 shots, a foul drawn, and a yellow, then you're gonna get huge leverage. But I think he'll be in most of my lineups. The third highest owned player, also good from West Ham, will be Mark Noble. Mark Noble is coming off of, easily, I'm not a Mark Noble historian, but it has to be his best game, one of his best games ever. He had 8 shots assisted. He was splitting corners right now with Bowen. He will also be on PKs for West Ham, and then DraftKings just severely underpriced him for that. He's only 5,400. Compare that to somebody like that we're gonna I'm gonna talk about in a minute, Aaron Cresswell. But he is 1,800 less, more attacking position with set pieces. So I just think that's a huge mistake. Mark Noble will make an interesting pivot if you want to kind of get some couple other, maybe like Sarr from Watford as a captain choice, especially if you get the PK. He could definitely be an interesting play. Pablo Fornals, good player, but he's more like a good player in real life than he is DFS friendly. Used to take some corners from him, that is long gone. My joke is that he still plays like he's in La Liga, like he's the only West Ham guy that isn't playing DFS friendly. So he's fine. He will go lower owned. I think he works. Soucek has just been on this weird run where if you look especially in set pieces, he's just a big threat for them and charges forward too when Rice is in. Like Declan Rice is one of the best number 6 holding midfielders in the world. So that gives Soucek a lot of freedom. I talk a lot about it with Man United that when Matic is in, Pogba has free reign because he knows that Matic is in for only one thing, which is to support the defense and be in front of that back 4, similar to Declan Rice. And Declan Rice, at this point of his career, has a lot more mobility than Matic. So gives Soucek free reign to kind of go box to box. A good player. So I think I would, funny enough, prefer him over Fornals. Declan Rice himself is very cheap, only 3,800. I had a lot of luck yesterday playing kind of destroyer midfields. Højbjerg for however he's. I guess he's I think he's Swiss. Maybe I don't remember his nationality. But anyhow, he ended up playing right back in the first half. So he actually wasn't that good. But then they got him back in midfield at halftime, and he dominated. But got him and Ndidi, 2 central midfielders with no sets, both in double digits. So I count my blessings on that. But Declan Rice is in a similar mold. So maybe, third time's the charm, and we can luck out with him. But he's only 3,800, so I think he'll be pretty popular. Aaron Cresswell and Ryan Fredericks are fine fullbacks. Cresswell is the more attacking of the two, the more willing to cross the ball. Used to take some sets. That appears long gone with Bowen, but 7,200, he is fine. And then you got your YOLO plays, Ogbonna and Diop, or if you're feeling risky with goalkeeper, Fabianski is coming off of his first clean sheet. Let's see. Since it's been a while, we're gonna have to scroll to get this, but his first clean sheet since January 10th versus Norwich. But if you want to, again, this game's really important. So both sides obviously. So Watford's going to attack, but if you think Fabianski has a game, you can go there. I think because of his logs, he'll be lesser owned than we've seen favored goalkeepers in the past. Watford side of things. Let's just start out with I think Will Hughes will most likely be the most popular Watford piece. He is pretty much on a monopoly of set pieces. Issue with Watford is they don't force a lot of corner kicks or free kicks. But that said, when we do have one, if he's in the game, Will Hughes will be taking. Ismaila Sarr is just a flat out best DFS player. Draws fouls, takes shots, crosses. He's going to play 90. It's a record signing. So he is expensive, however. So, I think more than likely the way that you're going to get to Sar is by fading like Bowen or Antonio at captain. So maybe that's the Noble build. You toss Noble up there to get Sar, and then you kind of fill in from there. But I think it's a fine play. You know, hell, I Liverpool fan here, so you know I still see Ismail Assar running all over for the Liverpool defense en route to Liverpool's first loss in the season. So the ceiling is there. Troy Deeney scored 2 goals last game, both on PKs. He's a good striker, team captain. Realistically, though, you know, those were bailouts. I loved him 2 weeks ago versus Norwich, and he let us down. I don't go as far as he's a poacher. I think Team Dean's a little more versatile than that, but he's not creating his own goal. It's not like he's going to dribble through the defense and then get a shot off. He's still going to be reliant on creators. Danny Welbeck's been actually in good form for Watford. He now has he had 6.2 versus Newcastle, 19.3 in a goal versus Norwich. So I think he's fine playing in a wide position. 7,600 I think is a little tough. Like from a cash play, I'd probably prefer Cresswell, but you know, he'll probably come in at half the ownership. Doucouré really interests me. Really nice player. I think that they actually priced him a little down versus where he should be at 4,200. He's playing very box to box, so even though he's showing up as a 10, he's still doing a lot of defensive work. That said, he's just the type of player, like I feel like most Watford sites, especially bigger Watford sites, he's the one that shows up with the goal. They're never pretty, but at 4,200, I definitely think it's worth it. Capu took a random free kick a couple matches ago and got a goal from it. Like, I'm sorry, he got an assist from it. So they scored the Craig Dawson goal. So I guess he's fine. Let's see where he is at price wise. 3,600, yeah. I mean, that's the price that you can play Capu at. Messina and Kiko are fine for fullbacks. Neither one of them are like super attacking. Messina used to take some free kicks and some corners. He still might take a few free kicks, but they aren't having him run across the field for corners anymore. Especially with Bowen over there, I do worry about that. It kind of like might be asking for a yellow card with how much Bowen runs at people. And then, you know, I've mentioned it before, but Craig Dawson always shows up, it feels like, with at least one header attempt. Really, really solid aerial piece threat. So, you know, if you want to do some correlations like Will Hughes and Craig Dawson, that could be a, you know, GPP winning type of stack. Finally, you know, as always, I feel like I take a lot of time talking about dog keepers. They're always going to be at least half, if not even 75% less owned than favorite keepers. That's going to be no different today with Ben Foster. So, you know, if you think that Watford can show up with a 1-0 type of game, Ben Foster's a must in your lineup and can give you some GPP differentials. Additionally, you know, I ended up almost taking down the United Palace one with a David De Gea captain. Got fortunate that David De Gea was very, very busy, which wasn't the reason to do it. I just thought that, you know, I was making that lineup and thinking about ways that I could be different from everybody else that was playing Rashford, Martial, and Fernandez. Those were all in the lineup. So I'm like, you know, who's a captain choice maybe that would be a little bit off the wall? Thought De Gea might come in less. I think it was only like 3 or 4% owned as a captain, and there you go. Yeah, I think that kind of wraps up, you know, the player breakdowns. Let's just talk about a couple correlation stack, and then we'll get out of here. So first off, you know, I already talked about, I think, pivot one to get off of ownership in GPP will be to get off of an Antonio or Bowen captain. Those two are going to be by far the most popular captains. So, you know, Mark Noble would be my third favorite and probably my favorite GPP move, especially with the PK duties. You have the upside there. Another route, I think, that you could kind of get off some chalk is just, I don't think Watford stacks are going to be popular at all. People are going to look at their logs, just see how unfriendly Watford is. So if you can, you know, game plan like a 1-0 or a 2-1 Watford win, you know, maybe you still get Bowen and Antonio, but you can get away with like a Will Hughes captain or a Ben Foster captain, or, you know, Troy Deeney shows up with the PK, put him at captain. I think that will be a lot lesser owned in combinations that you're not going to see people really go to. Just like kind of looking through here and just thinking, other one, you know, you always have to like Center backs are terrible for cash, right? Like they don't have floors, but they certainly can show up with goals. So Craig Dawson, always a set piece threat. So, you want to correlate like put Craig Dawson at captain, nobody will own him. You show up with the goal, you're going to ship it. But, maybe the safer route to doing that is, put Will Hughes up there. He gets it on the corner. So you get Will Hughes, captain, Craig Dawson gets the header goal. You have Ben Foster, and you run it back with Jared Bowen, Mark Noble, Mikel Antonio. Don't know if that fits. I'm just thinking out loud, and that would be an interesting lineup I don't think a lot of people would take. Well, anyhow, thank you guys so much for watching. Let's just keep in mind, I reminded yesterday, but you are playing GPPs. You are playing for first place. You are not playing for a min cash. You will not make a profit long-term getting min cash. So do your best to change those lineups up and make them unique. All right, guys, enjoy today. Will be, I think what I'm going to do tomorrow for EPL is probably just a live stream in the morning. I don't know. I'll try to announce it on Twitter, but keep a lookout for that. And just once again, thank you guys so much for watching and subscribing, and have a great day.